Welcome back, everybody, to the Jacksonville Jaguars franchise here on Madden 21. Last episode, we got our first win of the season, beating the Cincinnati Bengals 31-28. We also traded defensive end Yannick Ngakoue to the Cleveland Browns for tight end David Njoku, who played really well in our win against the Bengals, so good to see him have a great Jaguars debut. Today we have a game against the Houston Texans. However, before that game, I want to get you guys introduced to the draft class this year, and to be specific, the quarterbacks in this year's draft class. The draft classes in this series are connected to my Westlake Hornets Team Builder Dynasty series I'm currently running on NCAA 14. You don't really need to know all the players that well to follow along, but if you do follow that series, then you will recognize some of these names, which I suppose is an added bonus. Before we actually take an in-depth look at all these prospects, I want to evaluate what we have at quarterback. Currently, the starter is Gardner Minshew, who's had a fine year so far. Over 1,000 passing yards, 8 passing touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Is he the long-term answer at quarterback? That's to be determined. He's shown a lot of flashes so far. He's a very young player, only 24 years old. However, I'm not sure if he's the long-term guy, so I at least want to look at players this year, even if we don't draft a quarterback this year. The top projected quarterback in this class is Rodney Allen of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Allen started his career with the Westlake Hornets, then he transferred before his senior season to Iowa. As we look at some film in the Westlake game, Allen did not perform well in this game. He threw 3 interceptions, but he did make some nice throws. Look at this one under a ton of pressure, as Allen has very good accuracy. He's thrown for around 62%. In college, he has a lot of mobility as well, but the production hasn't always been there. He's never been a full-time starter until this year, so he's still fairly unproven to an extent, but I'm curious to see how he will do in the pros. The man who beat him for the starting QB position at Westlake is Stephen Westwood. We're going to look at some of Westwood's film last year when he was a redshirt sophomore in the national championship game against Tennessee. Westwood was outstanding in this game. He won the national championship MVP. Now as a redshirt junior, he hypothetically could return to school, but I fully expect him to declare for the NFL draft. He's very mobile, he's extremely fast, he can run with it. His arm strength isn't the best, but he is accurate, and he has been consistent throughout his Westlake career. I think with the lack of arm strength, that kind of pushes him down a little bit, but I do think he will be a solid day 2 selection. And a team like Jacksonville, maybe in the second or third round, if they try to get some extra picks, maybe they're looking at a guy like Stephen Westwood. Now we look at quarterback Preston Garrett III from UCLA, another mid-round quarterback. Garrett is a scrambler. He is really good on the run. He's an improviser as well. He can make good throws while under pressure. He has solid arm strength, and he's pretty accurate. So for the most part, a well-rounded quarterback. Let's look at him in the Westlake game. UCLA ended up winning this one. Now, one could call it an upset, even though UCLA was ranked number 3. The only problem is that he's been a little bit inconsistent throughout this season at UCLA. He's had a couple minor off-the-field stuff, but kind of like Stephen Westwood, this is a guy who you could look at in the second round and figure, hey, why not take a shot on a guy like Preston Garrett? So he's definitely a player who I think you do want to keep your eyes out for. Next up, we look at another Pac-12 quarterback from the University of California. It's redshirt senior Jeremy Watson. Watson is another mid-round quarterback. The strength of this class at QB, in my opinion, is the middle. Rounds 2 and 3, you can get good value like Preston Garrett, like Stephen Westwood, like Jeremy Watson. Watson is an okay scrambler. Look at this run, though. He does have a few good runs occasionally here and there, but for the most part, he makes plays with his arm. This is his first year of starting, so kind of like Rodney Allen, we haven't really seen a full year of production with Jeremy Watson. He isn't a great deep ball thrower. His arm strength is solid, but the accuracy deep isn't great. He does have good short accuracy, and I think at least at the start of his career, he'll be looked at as a field general and then eventually be tried to develop more into an all-around player. Now, one of the more interesting QBs in this class, Malik Edwards-Hoskins from Middle Tennessee State. There's a bad pass, but every time he makes a bad throw, you got beautiful throws like this. Now, Edwards-Hoskins is kind of like a Taysom Hill type player. I'm not sure if he's going to play quarterback at the next level. Malik is extremely athletic. He can run with it. He can throw it. He is lined up this year at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, cornerback, strong safety, kick returner, and punt returner. As you can tell, he's very versatile. I don't think he has a set role going into the NFL, which makes him a tweener, but it also makes the fact that he's extremely versatile, and I think teams could do a number of different things with him. I don't think he's going to be drafted all that high, probably in the 4th or 5th round. So I think a team like Jacksonville, even if they don't develop him at quarterback, he's still a guy they should look at. The other quarterback projected to go in round 1 this year, along with Rodney Allen, is Missouri's Jonathan Clarkson. Clarkson has an absolute cannon for an arm. Now, that pass was incomplete, but I mean, this guy can let it rip. Other than that, the accuracy is spotty. He's not the most mobile, but I mean, he's a tall glass of water, as it says on the scouting report. He's a John Elway type of quarterback, 6'6", 220 pounds. I mean, he's best when he is slinging the rock deep. He is the strongest arm for a prospect entering the NFL, probably since Josh Allen a few years ago out of Wyoming. I think picking him in the early first round is definitely a reach, but he does have the traits to be a really good quarterback. Now we look at another mid-round guy out of Virginia Tech. It's Revel Columbus. Look at this throw down the field. This guy is an improviser. I think his throws under pressure are arguably better than when he isn't facing pressure, which is strange. But, I mean, look at this throw. A defensive lineman's right in his face, and he just launches a dart over for Turner. Columbus has pretty good arm strength. The accuracy's been inconsistent at Virginia Tech, and even though he's an improviser and he's better throwing on the run, he's not much of a scrambler, and he's not going to make a ton of plays with his legs unless he is throwing it. I expect him to go in the 3rd or 4th round. I think that's pretty fair value for him. Now let's take a look at some quarterbacks who aren't in this year's draft class, but could be very high picks in a few seasons, including Ole Miss's Marcus Trotter. Trotter is a sophomore. He's going to probably be in next year's draft unless he doesn't declare, which I would be very surprised about. Trotter's a very well-rounded quarterback. He had that nice run earlier in the film, has a few nice throws here, getting it over to Moore, who brings it down to the 1-yard line. I think he has an NFL-caliber arm right now. He's had a really good season. He has athleticism, and the great thing about Trotter is he's a high-ceiling, yet high-floor prospect, and there aren't many of those in football, let alone at the quarterback position. Another sophomore from Michigan State I like is Koko Onwosu. Koko has a higher ceiling than Trotter, but a far lower floor. Koko only started playing football when he was 14 years old. He grew up in Africa before moving to the United States. He's a freak athlete, but the problem is he's a little bit small. Sometimes he takes too many hits, but, I mean, he's a pleasure to watch. Look at that incredible run. Koko's a redshirt freshman. He was supposed to play last year, but he suffered an injury. Durability is a question mark with Onwosu. However, I mean, when healthy, this guy is explosive, super fun to watch. I don't think he'll be a first rounder. I think he'll probably be a 2nd or 3rd rounder, but I think he has the chance to be really good. And now we look at a true freshman. This guy is not eligible until the 3rd draft of the series, Aiden Kentz out of the University of Virginia. Kentz is a generational prospect at the quarterback position. Already stands at around 6'5", 230. He has a cannon for an arm. He's extremely accurate. It was very hard to find weaknesses for Aiden Kent in the scouting report, so you're going to have to wait since he isn't eligible. But once the 3rd draft rolls around, if Gardner Minshew ends up not working out in Jacksonville, I'm sure they would absolutely love to go ahead and draft a guy like Aiden Kent. So that'll do it for the scouting report at quarterback. Throughout the rest of the season, we will look at a lot of the other positions in the draft. Today's game will be against the Houston Texans, our divisional rival. The Texans are also 1-3. They won the division last year and have gotten off to a slow start this year. Of course, they're led by J.J. Watt, their lone X factor after trading DeAndre Hopkins in the offseason. Watt has had some injury stuff the past few years, but when he is on the field, he is a problem. Another player who's going to be a problem for this opposing Jaguars squad is quarterback Deshaun Watson. The 4th-year pro from Clemson has continued to develop into one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League. Jacksonville's defense has really struggled so far this season against rookies like Tua Tagovailoa and Joe Burrow. This is the best quarterback the Jags have faced so far, so I'm sure it is going to be a challenge. And since the Texans are in our division, you're going to have to get used to Deshaun Watson throughout this series. We've got some Week 5 action here at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas, as the 1-3 Jacksonville Jaguars have an AFC South clash against the also 1-3 Houston Texans. The loser of this game will become the bottom of the division. I'm sure neither team wants to be in last place this early in the season, so this is a big game for both teams. Houston starting on offense, second down, Watson. Short pass is caught by the running back, Duke Johnson. Johnson is known as a receiving back as he gets 18 on the play. Johnson is also the Texans' lead rusher, so expect him to have a busy day on the ground and on the air. Short pass from Deshaun Watson. Nice gain nonetheless to the 32-yard line. Later on the drive, 4th and 1 from the 22. We got a ballsy play call here from Bill O'Brien. The Texans are going to go for it. Considering it's a Bill O'Brien decision, it's probably not going to work out. However, the Texans change their formation halfway through the pre-snap. It fools the Jaguar defense, and they convert. Now 3rd and goal at the 2. Watson gets it to his tight end, Jordan Akins, for the touchdown. And the Houston Texans will strike first. They now lead it 7-0. Jaguars with it. Minshew going up the middle for David Njoku to the 46. In his Jaguar debut, Njoku had 7 catches, 105 yards, and 3 touchdowns last week. Going to be hard to match that up. Later on the drive, Minshew is sacked by Whitney Merciless for a loss of around 10. Now it's 3rd and 15 for Jacksonville. They're in borderline field goal range right now. But that won't really matter as Minshew connects with the rookie wideout out of Colorado, Laviska Shenault Jr. for a gain of 20. A few plays later, the field goal unit would have to come out. Josh Lambo from 33, he would drill it. After a slow start to the season, Lambo has been kicking better as it is now 7-3. Texans have it back. Here's Deshaun Watson going to connect with his wideout, Will Fuller, to the 23-yard line. Despite losing DeAndre Hopkins, Houston still has a lot of talent in their wide receiving corps. 3rd and 4. Watson going to look for the end zone, and he connects a Texan touchdown. That one is caught by Kenny Stills, and Houston has a comfortable 14-3 lead early in this one. 3rd and 2. Jacksonville's going to run it. It's Leonard Fournette to the 37. Obviously, Fournette's in a contract year. He wants to get paid big money, and he has played quite well this season. I'm curious to see if Jacksonville retains him in the offseason. 2nd and 10 now. Nice throw over to DJ Chark for a gain of 33. Chark leads the team in receiving yards this season, averaging over 80 a game, and he gets a nice play there. Now 1st and goal at the 4. Handoff for Leonard Fournette. Untouched like weekend homework. That's a Jaguar touchdown. Fournette's 3rd of the year, 20th of his career. And Jacksonville's going to make it a little bit closer. It's now 14-10. Looks like this game's going to be a battle as on 1st down. Watson is sacked by Josh Allen, the 2nd-year pro out of Kentucky. It's obviously been a slow start to the year for Allen, who only had half of a sack through 4 games. So this is his first full sack all year, and it's a pretty big one. Now from the 27, 2-minute drill for the Jaguar offense as Minshew gets it to his slot receiver, Dede Westbrook, another player on this offense in a contract year as he brings it to the 46. 3rd and 4 now from the 40. Minshew's going to have to scramble with it. Gardner Minshew with a 1st down before being wrapped up by J.J. Watt, but still a nice gain of 8 for Jacksonville as they call time. Now from the 33, 2nd and 11, short pass over to David Njoku, who brings it to the 17-yard line as the Jaguars are continuing to move it. Now from the 7, 3rd and inches, can they punch it in? The answer is not quite yet. Laviska Shenault brought down at the 1. So after a few incompletions, it's now 3rd and goal at the 10. Jacksonville is out of timeouts, by the way. But it's not going to matter. David Njoku with the score. The 4th of the season for Njoku, which matches a career high. And he's managed to do it in 3 halves of play with Jacksonville. Very impressive. That'll bring us to the end of the first half. 17-14, Jacksonville leads this one. The Jags with 14 unanswered. The offense is looking good right now. I've got to say, Gardner Minshew and company are looking good, but the Jacksonville defense, once again, has been the weak spot of this team. 2nd and 3, there's Fournette losing 3. On the play, it's the rookie out of Florida, Jonathan Grenard, who brings him down. Houston's offense would receive it back after a Jaguar punt as Deshaun Watson under pressure. And he has a lot of rushing room, as my good friend Legion would say. He's going like a girl in a country song all the way to the 48-yard line. Excellent play by Watson. He couldn't find anyone open, but he found the grass, which happened to be wide open, and capitalized. There's a nice play for Kenny Stills, gaining around 15 yards as the Texans are moving it. 2nd and 9 now from the 24. Watson. He is going to be brought down on the sack by Timmy Jernigan, who's proved to be a pretty solid preseason free agent signing by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston's going to be forced to kick a field goal. Here's a 45-yard attempt for Kaimi Fairbairn, and it is good. And the Texans will tie it up at 7 apiece with about 3.5 to play here in the third quarter. 3rd and 7, Minshew connects with D.D. Westbrook. Nice throw to keep the drive alive and keep the chains moving. Now for 42. Minshew gets it over to DJ Chark. Chark runs past the defender, untouched, like weekend homework for a Jacksonville Jaguars touchdown, and they will regain the lead. Chark with his 2nd score of the season, dancing with D.D. Westbrook. Are you ready for the Chark attack? 3rd and 1 now for Houston, as they are once again down. Short pass is going to be broken up by the rookie, C.J. Henderson. Henderson's been quiet this year. That doesn't mean he's been bad per se. No big plays so far from Henderson. Jacksonville now with it. 3rd and 4. Minshew trying to lob it up into double coverage. Tries to play hero ball instead of throwing it away. The pass goes incomplete. Now Houston gets it back. Short pass over to Brandon Cooks, who brings it to the 37. Cooks was acquired in an offseason trade with the Rams. Going to try to at least have a fraction of the production that DeAndre Hopkins always brought year in and year out. 2nd down, Watson once again has nowhere to run with it, or nowhere to throw it, and he's going to get a nice first down on the ground. C.J. Henderson, by the way, does like a flip trying to tackle him. I don't know what that was. 3rd and 8 now. Watson going to scramble again with it. He's going to try to go in the end zone, and he gets in, but it's a fumble. DJ Hayden rips it out. Gerard Wilson picks it up, and Deshaun Watson loses the football in the end zone. A massive turnover for the Jaguar defense, and they will miraculously keep the lead in this game. I don't believe it. Jaguars are now in the driver's seat. 3rd and 3. Minshew gets it to Laviska Shenault, who makes a tough catch. Bradley Roby does not really make a great play there, and that'll keep the drive going. 3rd and 6. Leonard Fournette probably should have ran it to the left. Instead, he runs it to the right where it is more crowded. Only gets a couple, so Jacksonville's going to punt it, and it is down at the 1. What a punt by Logan Cook, who's had an excellent season, I've got to say. Downed by Rashawn Melvin. So now Houston has to worry about the safety, let alone driving down the field. Well, their safety concerns were quickly erased. Duke Johnson gains around 15. 3rd and 4 now at the 22. Watson gonna heave it deep. One-on-one coverage. And the pass is broken up by Trey Herndon. That one could have been dangerous. 4th and 4 now from the 22. Houston gonna try to keep the game alive, and they're successful. Kenny Stills down the field. Eventually brought down by Jacksonville as the clock continues to tick. Texans are down to 1 timeout with 45 seconds to play as Taven Bryan gets the sack. Now there's 9 seconds left. 4th and 7. Houston is out of timeouts. Watson goes up the middle for Brandon Cooks. Probably should have just tried to run out of bounds. Instead, he goes for an unnecessary spin move. Poor clock management on this possession from Bill O'Brien. And the Jacksonville Jaguars will get their 2nd win of the season, defeating the Houston Texans 24-17. Wow, that is a lot of hair. That's a lot of hair. Fix your game, EA. But nonetheless, a huge win for Jacksonville, who, by the way, they started the season off 0-3. Ever since the Yannick Ngakoue, David Njoku trade, they're 2-0. Both quarterbacks, Watson and Minshew, played quite well in this game, I do got to say. Leonard Fournette played well, too. So once again, it's the offense who played really well for Jacksonville, and the defense is the one who struggled. The pass rush has still been inconsistent. Quarterbacks have continued to put up really good numbers against this Jaguars squad. Now, Jacksonville does have 5 interceptions on the year. They've forced quite a few fumbles. So it's not forcing turnovers, but it's just not allowing points. The Jaguars did have 2 more sacks than Houston this week. I guess there is that. Jacksonville's pass blocking this year has been rather impressive, I've got to say. So that'll end the episode. Next one, the Jaguars return home to take on an NFC foe in the Detroit Lions. Hope you guys are excited for that one. Let me know what you thought of the scouting in this episode. Have a good one. Deuces.